The hostage the galaxy was a cold place, filled with empires that ruled through fear. For thousands of years, the Zalari Dominion had been one of the strongest. They conquered worlds, enslaved species, and laughed at the weak. To them, Earth was nothing, a small backwater planet with fragile people. That changed the day they captured Captain Ryan Hale. Ryan was not a general. He was not a king. He was a simple human officer stationed on a neutral station. The Zalari had attacked without warning. They wanted to send a message: no human is safe in the galaxy. Chains bound his wrists as guards dragged him into the throne room of the Zalari High Lord. The chamber was vast, filled with alien nobles wearing armor that shimmered like oil. Ryan's face was bruised, but his eyes were steady. The High Lord's voice echoed through the hall. "This is a human. This fragile creature is what Earth dares to send into space?" Laughter filled the room. Sharp, cruel laughter. "He looks weak," one noble sneered. "He will break easily. Perhaps we should feed him to the beasts." Another chuckled. But the High Lord raised his hand for silence. He walked closer, towering over the human. His 4 golden eyes glared down. "Earth is a child among stars. You should have bowed to us. You should have begged for mercy. Instead, you think you are equal." Ryan lifted his head. His lips curved into the smallest of smiles. "You shouldn't have done this," he said softly. The chamber fell silent. The High Lord narrowed his eyes. "And why not? Your people cannot reach you. Your ships are too small, your fleet's too weak. No one will come for you." Ryan's voice was calm, steady, almost too quiet. "You don't understand humanity. That's your first mistake." Hours later, word of his capture spread across the galaxy. News networks repeated it with mocking tones. "Earth officer held hostage. Dominion proves humans are powerless." On distant worlds, alien crowds laughed. Who would fight for one man? Who would risk entire fleets for a single life? It was unthinkable. But far away, on Earth, the reaction was very different. The moment the transmission reached the United Terran Command, the room went silent. Generals, admirals, and even civilian leaders watched the image of Ryan in chains. His eyes were defiant. His body was broken, but his spirit was unshaken. Admiral Carter slammed his fist on the table. "They think we will sit back. They think we will let one of ours rot in a cage." The council began to argue. "We cannot fight the Dominion. Their fleets are too strong. Perhaps we can negotiate. Maybe if we stay quiet, they will release him eventually." But then an old general stood, his voice like steel. "No, we do not abandon our own, not one. If they hold him, we will burn the stars to bring him home." And in that moment, the decision was made. Back in the Dominion prison, Ryan sat alone in his cell. The walls glowed faint blue, humming with energy. The guards thought he was broken, but he was not. He remembered Earth. He remembered the promise he made to his crew, no man left behind. He whispered to himself, "They're coming." The High Lord visited him again, this time with amusement. "Do you still believe they will come for you, human? We control hundreds of worlds. Your people have only one. You are nothing." Ryan looked him in the eyes, calm and steady. "You don't know us. You don't know Earth. You think we are weak because we are small. But when one of us is taken, all of us rise. And when we rise, we don't stop." The High Lord laughed, shaking his head. "Foolish words. Your people are ants before us." Ryan leaned forward, his chains rattling. His voice dropped to a whisper, sharp as a blade. "Then you've just made the mistake of stepping on the wrong anthill." The guards dragged him back, but his words stayed in the High Lord's mind. For the first time, a shadow of doubt crept into the alien ruler's heart. And far away, on Earth, fleets prepared to launch. Engines roared. Weapons that had never been fired were unlocked. Humanity, mocked by the galaxy, was about to show the truth. The galaxy still laughed. But Ryan Hale knew better, because Earth was coming, and when Earth came, the stars themselves would burn. Earth's response: when the Zalari Dominion broadcast the capture of Captain Ryan Hale, they expected fear. They expected Earth to bow down, to beg for mercy. Instead, Earth went silent. In the great chamber of the United Terran Command, leaders from every nation sat together. Old rivals who once fought for land and power now sat side by side. There were no flags, no borders, no divisions. There was only Earth. The image of Ryan in chains played again on the screen. His face was bruised, but his eyes were defiant. He was not begging. He was not broken. The silence ended when Admiral Carter spoke. His voice was calm, but it carried steel. They believe we will abandon him. They believe we are weak. We must decide here and now. Will we prove them right? Or will we show the galaxy who we are? Some leaders hesitated. The Dominion controls hundreds of worlds. Their fleets are countless. If we strike, we risk everything. A general from Asia leaned forward. And if we do nothing, what then? Tomorrow they take another human, and then another, until all of us are slaves. No, we cannot stay silent. A scientist from Europe added, they laugh at us because they do not know what we have hidden. They do not know what Earth has been building. Admiral Carter's eyes flashed. Then let them learn. Deep beneath the oceans, great hangars opened. From secret bunkers in the mountains, war machines rolled out. Orbital platforms that had been silent for years lit up with power. The Dominion thought Earth had only small ships, primitive fleets. They were wrong. Humanity had prepared. Humanity had studied alien technology. Humanity had been waiting for the moment when they would no longer be ignored. In the training fields, soldiers marched in silence. These were not conquerors. These were men and women who fought for each other. They were taught from childhood. No one gets left behind. When news spread that one of their own had been taken, volunteers flooded the bases. Pilots begged to fly. Marines begged to be chosen. People from every corner of Earth stepped forward, ready to fight. One soldier said it best. He is one of us. That is enough. Meanwhile, scientists worked day and night. They unlocked forbidden projects. Weapons that could collapse entire fleets with electronic pulses. Nanite swarms that could eat through armor like acid. Engines that could turn asteroids into guided missiles. They were not built for conquest. They were built for survival. Now they would be used for war. Across the galaxy, alien empires laughed. News channels mocked Earth's silence. They are too afraid, they said. They will negotiate, but on Earth silence was not fear. Silence was focus. On the 10th day after Ryan's capture, the fleet gathered in orbit. Hundreds of ships, some new, some old, all armed and ready. From orbit, Earth looked beautiful, glowing blue and green. For many soldiers, it was the last time they would see home. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable. His voice was broadcast to every ship, every soldier, every citizen watching from Earth. Brothers and sisters of Earth, he began. They think we are weak. They think we will bow. They think we will abandon one of our own. But we know the truth. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity does not forget. And humanity leaves no one behind. The fleets roared in answer. We do not fight for conquest, Carter continued. We do not fight for riches. We fight for him. We fight for every one of us. We will bring him home. Far away in his cell, Ryan Hale sat alone. He did not know what was happening on Earth. He only knew what he believed. He whispered again into the dark. They're coming. And this time, he was right. The engines lit up. Thousands of thrusters burned bright as the Terran fleet launched into the void. The galaxy watched in silence. For the first time, humanity was not hiding. For the first time, they were not negotiating. For the first time, they were going to war, and they were going to war for one man. Fire from the sky, the Zalari Dominion never believed Earth would fight. When their spies reported that human fleets had left orbit, the High Lord laughed. Let them come, he said to his generals. We will crush their little ships and send the wreckage back to their blue planet. Then the galaxy will see what happens when weaklings defy us. The nobles laughed with him. To them, humanity was nothing more than ants trying to challenge a storm, but they had no idea what storm was coming. At the edge of Dominion space, the stars lit up with fire. The Terran fleet had arrived. Hundreds of ships moved in perfect formation. They were smaller than the Zalari warships, lighter and faster, but they carried weapons the galaxy had never seen. On the flagship Indomitable, Admiral Carter gave the order. All ships, advance. The humans surged forward. The Dominion fleet met them with overwhelming numbers. Giant cruisers and carriers filled the void, their cannons glowing with deadly energy. The sky burned as the first shots were fired. Bright streams of plasma cut through the darkness, slamming into human shields. Explosions tore through the void. The Zalari cheered, certain it would be over quickly. But then, the humans struck back. From the smaller Terran ships, swarms of drones shot forward like sparks. The Dominion fired on them, but the drones were too fast, weaving between blasts. Then suddenly entire Dominion ships went dark. The drones weren't bombs. They were hackers, tiny machines that slipped into alien systems, shutting down shields, cutting engines, locking weapons. The humans opened fire on the helpless giants. One by one, Dominion warships exploded, their glowing wreckage scattering across the stars. The Zalari commanders panicked. Impossible. How can they breach our system so easily? But the answer was simple. Humanity had been studying them for years, quietly learning their weaknesses. And now they used everything they had learned. The battle raged on. The Dominion had numbers, but Earth had fury. Human fighters moved in deadly packs, sacrificing themselves to protect one another. When one ship was hit, others rushed forward to shield the survivors. The aliens had never seen such loyalty. To them, soldiers were tools. To humans, soldiers were family. And when family was threatened, humans became fire. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Carter stood tall. Target their carriers. Do not let them regroup. Show them what Earth can do. Yes, Admiral. From deep within the fleet, massive cannons powered up. These were Earth's secret weapons, railguns the size of towers, firing projectiles at near light speed. The void shook as the first shot fired. A single slug ripped through shields, hull and engines tearing a Dominion carrier clean in half. Another shot. Another ship shattered. The galaxy had never seen such raw, brutal weapons. Plasma cannons burned bright, but the railguns roared like thunder. They were the sound of Earth's rage. In his prison cell, Ryan Hale felt the ground tremble as distant explosions rocked the station. Guards rushed past his door, panic in their voices. "They're here," one shouted. "Impossible, it can't be humans." Another screamed. Ryan smiled through the bruises. He whispered again, "Told you." The Dominion tried to rally. Thousands of ships still filled the void. But every time they pressed forward, humans answered with fire and steel. Drones cut through their systems. Fighters swarmed like wolves. Railguns turned giants into dust. For every human ship that fell, 3 Dominion vessels burned. The galaxy watched in horror and awe as the so-called weak species turned the battlefield into an inferno. And through the chaos, one truth became clear. Earth was not fighting for conquest. They were fighting for one man. Hours later, the battlefield was littered with wreckage. The Dominion fleet, one of the largest in the galaxy, was broken. Survivors fled into the dark, leaving trails of fire behind them. Admiral Carter's voice echoed across the Terran fleet. "Hold formation. Begin Phase 2. We are not done. We will bring him home." The humans did not cheer. They did not celebrate. They simply reloaded their weapons, refueled their ships, and turned toward the Dominion prison world. The galaxy had watched the battle. Entire networks replayed the same words over and over again. Earth burned a fleet for one man. What kind of people would do that? What kind of species valued one life above entire armadas? The answer whispered across the stars was simple. Humans. To rescue the Zalari Dominion had lost their fleet, but Captain Ryan Hale was still locked deep inside their prison fortress. The High Lord believed the humans would stop after their victory in space. He was wrong. Humanity was just getting started. At dawn on the prison world, the sky burned red as firestorms from orbit lit the horizon. Dominion soldiers gathered around the fortress walls, their weapons shaking in their hands. "They will not dare come here," one guard muttered. "Not for a single man." But then the sky opened. Dropships fell like meteors, blazing through the atmosphere. The ground shook as their ramps crashed open, and out stormed the Terran Marines. The Zalari had fought countless enemies before, but never anything like this. The humans did not advance in perfect lines. They moved like a pack of wolves, covering each other, dragging the wounded back, pressing forward no matter the cost. Their battle cry thundered across the battlefield. "For one of ours." Inside his cell, Ryan heard the echo of explosions. His heart pounded. He knew that sound. It was the sound of Earth. "They came," he whispered, tears burning his eyes. The guards panicked, rushing to lock down the fortress, but it was already too late. The first human squads breached the outer walls with heavy charges. Steel doors melted under their explosives. Marines stormed inside, rifles blazing, cutting down the insect-like guards in brutal close combat. Every corner of the fortress became a war zone. Dominion soldiers shouted in fear, "They're insane. They fight as if death means nothing." But it was not madness. It was loyalty. To the humans, one life was worth all their lives. Ryan's cell block shook as an explosion tore through the hallway. Dust rained from the ceiling. He stood, pulling against his chains as shadows appeared in the smoke. "Captain Hale," a voice shouted. "We're here for you." Two armored Marines burst through, their armor scorched, faces grim. They cut his chains and pulled him to his feet. Ryan staggered, his body weak, but his eyes burned with fire. "I knew you'd come," he said. The Marine answered simply, "We leave no one behind." The retreat was brutal. Dominion reinforcements poured in, desperate to stop the humans. Blaster fire lit the holes. Marines fell, but others carried their wounded without hesitation. At one point, a squad held a corridor against overwhelming numbers. They fought until their ammunition ran dry, then charged with blades, giving their lives to buy Ryan more time. Every alien who saw it felt the same chill. These humans fight like demons. For just one man. Finally, the Marines reached the extraction point. Dropships roared overhead, blasting apart the last of the Dominion defenses. The humans carried Ryan aboard as the sky lit with fire. The High Lord watched from the fortress tower, his golden eyes wide with disbelief. His mighty armies had been broken, his fortress shattered, and all for a single prisoner. He shouted into the comms, "Why? Why would they do this?" The answer came not from a general, not from a noble, but from Ryan himself as he was lifted aboard the dropship. He leaned against the doorway, his voice hoarse but strong. "Because we're human, and humans never leave family behind." The dropships blasted into orbit, racing toward the Terran fleet waiting above. Cheers erupted across every channel as the signal came. "Captain Ryan Hale is alive. The mission is complete." But the galaxy was not cheering. The galaxy was in shock. Billions had watched the rescue, every explosion, every sacrifice, every human cry of loyalty. Entire empires whispered the same words in fear. They destroyed fleets. They burned armies. They risked everything. For one man, to the Dominion it made no sense. To the galaxy it was madness, but to humans, it was simply who they were. That night, as Ryan lay in the medical bay of the Indomitable, he looked at Admiral Carter. "You came for me," Ryan whispered. Carter placed a hand on his shoulder. "Of course we did. You're one of us, and that's all that matters." Ryan closed his eyes, exhausted but alive. Humanity had proven itself. The galaxy now knew, if you touched one human, you would face them all. The galaxy trembles. The rescue of Captain Ryan Hale spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Every empire, every species, every council chamber buzzed with the same story. Earth had burned fleets. Earth had broken armies. Earth had risked everything. For one man, at first many aliens refused to believe it. It sounded like madness. No logical empire would sacrifice entire fleets for a single soldier. But the evidence was undeniable. Millions had seen it with their own eyes, live feeds, recordings, survivors' testimonies. The galaxy could not deny the truth. Humanity had changed the rules. In the Zilari High Council, the survivors trembled. The High Lord, once proud, now spoke in fear. They destroyed our fleets as if they were nothing. They stormed our fortress with fire in their eyes. All for one human. What will they do? If we truly anger them? No one answered, because everyone already knew. If Earth would burn worlds for a single man, what would they do for a billion? Across the galaxy, empires began to shift. Old rivalries paused. Old powers whispered in secret. "Do not provoke the humans," one emperor warned. "Do not touch even one of them," another said. "To harm a human," a third whispered, "is to call fire upon your stars." The galaxy trembled. Meanwhile, on Earth, there was no celebration of conquest. No throne was claimed, no territory taken. The fleets returned in silence, carrying their wounded, mourning their dead. Humanity had not fought for power, they had fought for family. Captain Ryan Hale recovered slowly in a hospital bed, surrounded by friends and comrades. His body was weak, but his spirit was unbroken. He asked one question to Admiral Carter. Why? Why risk everything for me? Carter's answer was simple. Because you are one of us, and that is all that matters. Ryan smiled, a faint tear in his eye. He finally understood. Weeks later, the Galactic Council gathered. Representatives of hundreds of species debated for hours. They wanted to pass a warning, a law, a declaration, something to remind every empire of the danger. Finally, the council speaker, an ancient being older than Earth's pyramids, stood before the chamber and spoke. Let it be known across the stars. Humanity does not negotiate when their own are harmed. Humanity does not abandon. They are dangerous because of their loyalty, not their weapons. If you take one of theirs, the speaker paused, the chamber silent. They will turn your galaxy to ash. The words were carried on every channel, every broadcast, every corner of the known universe. From that day forward, humans were no longer seen as a young and weak species. They were feared, respected, and sometimes worshipped. Empires measured their actions carefully, always asking the same question. Will this anger Earth? Because to anger Earth was to risk everything. On the deck of the Indomitable, Admiral Carter looked at the stars. His fleet had returned scarred but victorious. His people had proven themselves. He spoke quietly, almost to himself. They call us mad. They call us reckless, but they will remember this. We are human, and we fight for each other, always. Ryan, standing beside him with healing wounds, added softly, that's what makes us strong. The stars outside shimmered in silence, as if listening. And across the galaxy, in the shadows of alien courts and councils, the same truth echoed like thunder. If you harm one of them, you invite the fury of them all. Final HFY punchline. The day the galaxy chose sides, the council chamber of Auralis Prime was silent. Thousands of delegates from across the stars sat in a half-circle, their faces glowing under the pale light of the twin suns above. A massive screen floated in the center, showing the same image again and again, human ships, black as night, fighting monsters from beyond the rift. The same words repeated in every language of the galaxy. Humans don't negotiate with killers. Council leader Varen stood at the center platform, his voice echoing. You all saw what they did, he said. They destroyed the rift creatures. They saved our fleets. But do not forget, those same humans once vanished into darkness after killing thousands. A murmur spread through the chamber. Some agreed, others whispered in fear or awe. Ambassador Lyra Tain, the only survivor who had spoken to the humans, stood at the lower stage. Her eyes were tired, but her voice was steady. You misunderstand them, she said. They didn't attack us. They stopped something worse. They warned us. Varen turned sharply. Warned us? About what? About themselves. No, Lyra said quietly. About what's coming next. At that, the lights dimmed and the hologram changed, showing data from the rift battle. Energy spikes, gravitational distortions, unknown signals. All pointed to one terrifying conclusion. The rift isn't closed, Lyra continued. The humans sealed one part of it, but there are others. More portals across the galaxy. The monsters are spreading. Panic filled the chamber. Delegates shouted over one another, fear rising like a wave. They will come here. The humans will blame us. We should prepare weapons. Varen slammed his staff against the floor. Enough. He glared at Lyra. You want us to trust them? After what they've done. She met his eyes. You should trust what they've become. Hours later, the council went into private session. Outside, ships were already mobilizing. Some races sent fleets toward human space, believing a preemptive strike was safer. Others called for alliance. The galaxy was dividing. In a quiet corner of the chamber, Admiral Koresh watched the stars through the glass dome. He had seen the humans fight. He knew their power. Lyra approached him. They won't listen, she said softly. Koresh nodded. Fear never listens. He turned to her. Tell me honestly, Lyra, "Do you believe they'll come back?" "Yes," she replied, "but not for revenge, for the war that's still coming." Koresh looked out again at the stars. "Then maybe they're our only chance." Suddenly, alarms echoed across Oralis Prime. The skies above the capital turned red as defense systems activated. A young officer rushed in. "Council leader, we're detecting massive energy readings from the outer ring." Varin frowned. "Human ships?" "No, sir," the officer said, his voice shaking. "Something else." The main screen filled with static, then with horror. A giant tear appeared in space just beyond the planet's orbit. From within, shadow-like creatures began pouring out, hundreds of them, their shapes twisting and burning like black fire. Lyra whispered, "The rift, it's spreading." The council ordered all fleets to engage, but the enemy moved faster than light. Within minutes, the outer defense stations were gone. Koresh ran to the command platform. "We need reinforcements. Call every system." "No one will arrive in time," Lyra said. "There's only one chance." Varin glared. "Don't say it. Call the humans," Lyra said firmly. "They can stop this. They'll destroy everything. They'll save what's left," she shouted back. Before the council could vote, a blinding flash lit the sky. Dozens of human ships emerged from hyperspace, silent, dark, perfectly synchronized. The same voice that once spoke to Lyra echoed through every frequency. "This is the Terran Defense Accord. Stand down. We have control." Human fleets formed a barrier between the Rift and Oralis Prime. They launched weapons unlike anything the galaxy had seen, beams of blue light that sliced through the creatures as if the void itself had turned to fire. Every move was precise. No stray shots, no panic, just cold, perfect execution. The galaxy watched in silence as the battle unfolded. Within minutes, the sky was clear again. The rift collapsed. For now, as smoke drifted above the planet, the humans sent one final message. "We warned you," the voice said. "This galaxy breeds killers, and killers understand only one language, power." Varin stood, trembling. "Who are you to speak for us?" he demanded. The human reply was calm but cold. "We are humanity, the ones you left to die, the ones who learned that mercy is not weakness." The humans left without another word. Only silence remained, heavy and endless. Lyra turned to the council. "You see now? They didn't come to rule us. They came to stop what we refused to face." Varin said nothing. The chamber was silent as the stars outside flickered faintly, a reminder of what had just been saved and what could still be lost. Later that night, Koresh stood on the balcony overlooking the capital. He could still see the faint glow where the human ships had vanished. Lyra joined him quietly. "The council is in chaos," she said. "Half want an alliance, half want to prepare for war," Koresh nodded slowly. "Then the galaxy has already chosen sides." She looked at him. "And you? Which side are you on?" He looked up at the stars, at the dark space where Earth lay hidden. "The side that survives.